Hello everyone and welcome to the 12th episode in the series of things you may have missed in The Witcher 3. In case you didn't catch any of the previous ones, there's a link to the full playlist down in the description. Now in this episode we're going to be taking a look at the second expansion of the game, Blood and Wine. After some consideration, I decided to split the content in 3 parts because there's just so much to talk about. In part 1, which is this video, we'll take a look at the main story from the beginning all the way up until you find Syanna in Duntine.
You're just less interesting than you think.
Then part 2 will include Oriana, the Unseen Elder, the Fairy Tale Land, all the different endings, as well as the different people who come to your vineyard. And finally part 3 is going to be about everything else, all of the side quests and activities. Who knows, I may even have to split that one in 2 as well. But that's enough lollygagging for now. Let's get to the meat of things and start with something that may not be that rare, but if you're like me and you pay absolutely no attention to achievements, you may have missed the fact that you can one-shot Goliath, or Goliath, however you pronounce it. To do it, you have to line up a perfect shot with your crossbow right into his eye. It may take a while to get it right, but it does work. And I realize I started things a bit out of order, but oh well. You remember how when you accept the contract in the beginning, you have the option to either defend the village from the bandits or leave things as they are. Well, if you defend it and later you come back to it, it's just empty. But if you leave, in addition to it being empty upon your return, there are several hanged people you can find right in the middle, along with a note left from a group of bandits calling themselves the Velen Brothers. Oh, and did you know that the cutscene which plays immediately upon arrival for the first time can be naturally skipped? If you keep your distance and listen to the conversation from afar, the knights will eventually finish talking and walk into the house, and then the next scene will start from there.
I feared.
We ain't in need of no help.
You have suffered enough, Planter. Enough rape. Fear not, for we shall spill only the blood of outlaws. To you we grant liberation.
And this be the witch man that read the names.
Geralt of Rivia.
Ha! Sit with us, Witcher!
Just a curious little thing I wanted to mention. Okay, for number 3, we find ourselves in the arena where Guillaume fights the Shelmar. Oh, and speaking of him and Vivienne, their quest and everything surrounding them will be in part 3, you know, where the side quests are. Anyway, during this fight, you will have Milton assisting you, and the following cutscene has some variation based on whether he was defeated or not while you fought the Shelmar. Here's how it goes normally.
Guillaume.
The lad came damned close to dying.
And here's how it goes if he falls.
Alas, Hermely lies busted. He has breathed his last breath. Avenge, ye Witcher! Fight bravely unto death!
Forgive me. I am not as nimble as in my younger years.
You fought bravely. Thanks for your help. Guillaume.
The lad came damned close to dying.
Number 4 takes place during the festivities, where you look for the golden fish and the unicorn. A lady has lost her ring and is desperately trying to find it.
Mademoiselle, are you certain you dropped it right here?
Yes! I cannot return without my engagement ring!
No, please do not weep. I shall continue searching.
Here. It's an heirloom. It was my grandmama's.
Well, it turns out you can actually find it for her. I tried doing this way back when I used to stream, but I couldn't. And it was because the ring, which is located right about here, is kind of tricky to loot. It doesn't show up as an interactable object, at least not on PC, when you use your Witcher senses, but it's there. And after you pick it up, you can take it back to the lady.
There you go.
Oh, thank you. I know not how to repay you.
Number 5 is another one where I can't quite tell how many people have missed, but normally I do it fast enough to where it doesn't happen, so it's about the golden fish and the cutscene that plays if you do not catch it on time. Usually I get this.
Come on, good man.
That's an outrage!
That form, sir.
Do something!
Do what exactly? Am I to jump in the water? Lodge an official protest.
But if you take too long, the others will catch it before you.
Hey, wait. Stop. It's important.
King Cormorant, sire, accept this offering we bring. Prithee cast upon us your merciful eye, and bear before us its secrets.
As the moon is heavenly course doth trace, in my domain I await that moment of grace, when a soul of good or ill repute brings me a gift, fitting tribute.
A key.
Why, you bomb-botched wretch!
He's ruined the game!
Disgraceful. Don't cry, dear. The Duchess will hear of this.
For number 6, we'll take a look at the unicorn sequence. To my knowledge, it's impossible to catch it without either luring it with an apple or using Axie on it, but what I think some of you may have missed is the rather funny scene that takes place if you decide to Axie it and then lose the fist fight against the rest of the angry competitors.
Come on, stay calm. Shh, calm down. Easy now.
Well, that's hardly fair.
Flagrant cheating is what it is!
Sirs, we must teach this scamp some proper sportsmanship.
Wanna fight? Step on up.
The cheek.
At him, gents!
Defend yourself, rogue!
The impertinence!
Ha!
I hope you've learnt your lesson. If not, we're available for more tutoring.
Fuck-a-doodle-doo. No rematch. Got no time. I'm in a hurry.
I hope this video does not get demonetized because of it. Now for number 7, I left the fact that you don't actually have to go and talk to the Duchess after collecting the golden fish and the unicorn's horn. In fact, you don't even need anything except for the key from the fish. Once you have it, just go to the greenhouse yourself and you will stumble upon Dettlaff killing Milton.
What the butch?
Okay, number 8, but before that, did you know that you can actually lose the fight against Dettlaff? You know, when you encounter him for the first time, just try losing and you'll see that everything proceeds as normal. The exact same scene plays with Regis intervening. And it kind of makes sense if you think about it. Now, what I wanted to talk about in number 8 was that after you're done with Dettlaff and Regis, you can go back to the greenhouse and loot Milton's hair mask. Sadly, the Duchess has no reaction to it at any point. Right, it's time to talk more about Regis, who's just great by the way, I love him, and that's true in the books as well, unlike some other characters. But anyway, something you could have missed is that there is an illusionary wall in his hideout which you can dispel with Kira's trinket.
Someone placed an illusion here. Interesting.
And then loot some goodies. A couple of other interesting things in his hideout are a note you can find by his bed, which sheds some light on how he's feeling. As well as the fact that he occasionally turns into fog, and moves around. Actually, sometimes he barely moves, but he stays in fog form for so long. Anyway, we're moving on to number 10, and we're halfway through now, but still about Regis. And here I have combined a couple of bugs/inconsistencies that can be encountered during the scene where you have a drink with him. The first one is that if you do this quest before defeating the Wild Hunt in the main game, Geralt will incorrectly tell Regis that they have defeated the Wild Hunt together.
Where have you been? Ever find your Cirilla?
Back then, yeah. But we parted again soon after. And when the time was ripe, she came back, defeated the Wild Hunt together.
Ooh.
And another bug that occurs here is that if you get inside Regis's home, if we can call it this way, without fully clearing the Archispores outside, they might make an appearance during the reunion scene.
Oh, a raven? Rather a common sight at this latitude. Very intelligent fowl.
Still no sign of your winged friend.
Luckily, things aren't as bad as Mass Effect Andromeda, where you can actually die during the cutscene if you left some enemies uncleared beforehand.
On our terms.
Site 2 is still powered. You could broadcast from the old comm array.
And number 11 is once again about Regis. Maybe I should have made a details about Regis video. This one is sort of brought to you by a viewer of mine by the name of Zimemaru? Sounds a bit like a Dota character. Anyway, I've played through this detail myself, but I never actually noticed that it's different. So he commented that the conversation with Regis changes if you got the worst ending and Ciri, quote, died. And indeed, if she's gone, and you meet Regis afterwards, instead of Geralt telling him that they reunited once more and defeated the Hunt together, he just makes a long pause and moves on, refusing to mention anything else about her to Regis.
Where have you been? Ever find your Cirilla?
Back then, yeah. But we parted again soon after.
It's a nice touch, and I can't believe I didn't catch it earlier. And speaking of things I've seen but didn't pay attention to, here's another one, brought to you by another viewer by the name of HardConfig, and it starts with finding the spoon key inside the Spotted White's lair.
A spoon key. Sophisticated crafting. Tag bears a description. White's a true collector.
It leads you on a treasure hunt where several recipes are found.
Wipe your boots before you take another step. Don't slurp your food. Don't eat with your hands. Don't pick your teeth with your knife.
What?
Oh, I'm just jesting. You, sir, clearly were not born in a barn. Welcome to the pheasantry. The best auberge in all the duchy.
I know you're busy, but round of Gwent?
And the thing I've missed here, which perhaps you could have as well, is that there is a Gordon Ramsay Easter egg in the name of the author of these recipes, who's called Ramses Gorthan. And I assume everyone knows that Gontar O'Dim is behind the whole curse of the Spotted White thing, so I'll just move on. Actually, you know what? Before I do, let me take a moment of your time and ask you to give this video a like if you've enjoyed it up until this point, and to perhaps subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet done so. Okay, thank you, and let's move on to the next detail. For number, what are we at, 13, we are going to the bootblack.
Leave him alone.
Just who the spit are you?
His father.
And the fact that you can get a funny scene with him if you decide to take off your shoes before talking to him.
Wait! Before we get to talking, please, take a seat.
Prefer going barefoot lately. But fine, have it your way.
Step up, have a seat. You shan't regret it.
What's more, you can sort of break the game here if you remove every single pair of shoes from your inventory.
Step up, have a seat. You shan't regret it. So then, who was it you wanted to ask about?
One of your patrons. Tall, elegant black frock,
Number 14 is another inconsistency in the form of vampire lore, more specifically about who and what is and isn't a higher vampire. Let me play a clip from the main game.
What on earth's a catacan?
A higher vampire.
And now a clip from Blood and Wine.
What creature can do such things?
Creatures like this one. Higher vampires, we call them.
Yet all are still brainless beasts.
Dead wrong. Thinking of lesser vampires. Alps, Ekamaras, catacans, for instance.
What on earth's a catacan?
A higher vampire. Thinking of lesser vampires. Catacans, for instance.
Yes.
I've done a video on the matter. If you want to learn or get further confused about higher vampires, you can check it out if you want to. And now we move on with Damien and Anna Henrietta towards the vineyard. Something you may have missed here is that there is a unique scene if you abandon them soon before you reach your final destination.
Is someone from the vineyard blackmailing the vampire?
Geralt! Why do you flee?
You call that escorting Her Illustrious Highness? What were you thinking?
Captain, this is not the time for such complaints. As for you, Witcher, next time keep close.
Right, we're not done with Anna yet. We still have to talk about her reactions to your clothing before the masquerade. There is the negative one, if you're wearing nothing or something inappropriate.
Oh, Geralt. I knew I should have taken you to the palace, handed you over to my tailor. Whatever are you wearing?
Sorry, I didn't have time to change.
Luckily, I prepared for just such an eventuality. Here, don this doublet. Its cut is all the rage these days.
There is the one for the Hearts of Stone outfits.
Well. A witcher in a robe. I last saw attire like this years ago in Redania.
Inappropriate for this evening? Not a good fit?
It's a wonderful fit, but you're sure to stand out. No one wears such things around here.
There's one for the Nilfgaardian outfits.
Well. I did not expect you to have such a sense of style.
And there's one for the Blood and Wine outfit, the correct one.
Not all bad. Nothing like a budding artist, of course, but... Oh, Geralt. I knew I should have taken you to the palace, handed you over to my tailor. Whatever are you wearing?
Sorry, I didn't have time to change.
Luckily, I prepared for just such an eventuality.
Also, she does not react any differently to the hair mask or the concealment kit. And for number 17, we are going right after the masquerade and the fact that you can go all the way down the hill behind Oriana's house and find the corpse of the Cintrian. You know, the one she pushed out of the window?
Wasn't a fair fight. Didn't stand a chance.
And yes, it flew quite the way to reach here. Also, a viewer of mine, whose name escapes me, for some reason I lost it, apologies, pointed to how she says her males in this sentence.
Shame it happened too late for Cecilia.
Poor girl. Always told her she chose her males badly.
Supposedly, this betrays the fact that she isn't human, and I must admit that there may indeed be something to that. Tell me what you guys think of this. And number 18 is once again brought to you by a viewer whose name you may remember from my Hearts of Stone video, and that is Gaming Solves My Issues. She commented about how if you go upstairs in Delacroix's mill, where he was killed by Dettlaff, you can see the bloodstains on the floor.
Forgive me. What?
And that is indeed the case. You can even spot them as soon as you arrive in Toussaint. A nice touch for sure, thanks a lot, Gaming. how should I call you? GSMI? Number 19 is something rather weird. Once again, it is sort of brought to you by a viewer by the name of Nate Walther, who commented how you're able to find the boat which transported the body of Delacroix out of the water where he was found, and Geralt has a couple of brief comments about it. Now, I was initially pretty sure that he's wrong, because I've been to the place in question and I do not recall seeing anything of the sort. However, after some further investigation, it seems that the boat itself, as well as Geralt's interactions, only become available after you have the conversation in the inn, where you see the Bruxa in human form, and where you learn what actually happens to the body, while I have only visited this place prior to this conversation.
Blood traces on the bottom, and a boat hook. Body pulled from the river was transported using this boat. Wheel ruts. Guardsmen must have transferred the body from the boat onto a cart or wagon. Trails muddled from here. Got nothing we can follow.
I think it's kind of weird. You know, why can you find the boat which took the body out of the river only after you've already learned that the body was taken out of the river by the boat and transported to Corvo Bianco? I can't help but wonder whether or not these interactions are the remnants of an alternative, perhaps, an alternative way to complete the quest. Perhaps initially they wanted to make it possible for you to find the boat and then track down the body to Corvo Bianco without having the conversation in the inn? Or something else that involved finding the boat, but eventually decided to change it into how the story goes now? I've no idea, but I find it curious nevertheless. And for number 20 I have something fairly small, once again about Delacroix. You know how they make an emphasis on his initials being DLC?
Found a handkerchief in the water, monogrammed DLC. Mean anything to you?
Delacroix? It cannot be.
You know, we're playing a DLC and so on. But I think beyond that, they're also subtly making fun of greedy DLC / microtransaction practices. You know, by having a man named DLC being found dead with a sack of coins shoved down his throat?
Something in the throat. A pouch, bulging with coins. If the murderer did this, means we're dealing with a sentient thinking beast.
And with that, we are done. Part 1 of Blood and Wine. Please let me know what you think of all of this. Was there anything you missed, or perhaps anything I forgot to mention? Although there's a lot more coming in parts 2 and 3, so stay tuned for that. And yep, thank you very much for watching. Special thanks to my supporters on Patreon and YouTube, and of course to all those who commented and helped me make this video better. And as always, until the next one, stay tuned and be good.